the way it speaks to me is often very harmful and loud. It feels like there's someone inside of myself shouting, "Be quicker, you're wasting your time, do this and not that," and judging a lot. I just deeply, deeply love seeing other people unfold, unlocking their potential, getting in touch with their self, with their essence. And just that comes a lot with holding space in a very, very patient way. And that benefits or contributes in a very beneficial way also to all my relationships in my life, like to my partnership, to my friendships and family. So it's definitely something to cultivate, I believe. Welcome to today's episode of Stream of Consciousness. In this episode, I will be sharing my perspective on the topic of the age of instant gratification, cultivating patience and presence. And it's the same in all other Stream of Consciousness episodes. I'm just going to share openly, authentically, in a very raw, unfiltered, and unprepared way my perspective on this topic, the age of instant gratification, cultivating patience and presence, and what that has, which kind of impact that has on living your essence and how you can live your essence in this age of instant gratification. So let's go. My thoughts about this are that I myself have an interesting relationship to patience. I can be incredibly patient with other people. In maybe most of my coaching sessions, people say to me in the very beginning, "I'm so grateful and impressed how you can have so much patience with me." It feels like it's naturally built into my system because I want the best for others. I want that this person who is sitting in front of me, or these people that are sitting in front of me, if they say, "I have a dream, I want to live this kind of life, I have a dream, I want to create this kind of, follow this kind of passion, create this profession," my entire system lights up and I'm like, "Hell yes, I'm going to do anything, whatever it takes, everything, whatever it takes that you can live this life." And therefore, this comes with a lot of patience. And I can just sit there, listen for hours, or share some skills and try to teach people, for example, how to come back into balance and how to do nonviolent communication and all this kind of stuff with a lot of uh, patience. And on the other side, when it's just like me and myself, so to say, in a room, and I have this thought that I want to create something, or I have a project that I'm working on, or I want to create a new idea, whatever it is, there is this part inside of me who is constantly kicking my ass because it said, "You need to be faster. You need to do this faster. You can't wait so long. You're wasting your time." And it's terrible. Like inside of myself, I can observe this voice and this part, which can be very, very destructive. It has a lot of power, a lot of force. And in its core, it has this beautiful intention that it just really wants to support me in creating what I want to create. So it comes from a place of goodness, of I want that you get what you want. And yet, the way it speaks to me is often very harmful and loud. It feels like there's someone inside of myself shouting, "Be quicker, you're wasting your time, do this and not that," and judging a lot. So it's this part is feels like one part is an inner critic. The positive side of that is kind of like a coach supporting me, being on my side, and a part which just wants to get things done. And I don't know if you have similar experiences inside of yourself and your inner world. And this concept of parts work is actually very famous, like Richard Schwartz developed internal family systems and based on this parts work. So it's very, very interesting. I can definitely recommend you to check this out and learn more about it. And yeah, when it comes to what we're speaking about, like the age of instant gratification and how to cultivate patience and presence, I myself find myself every now and then struggling with how can I be patient with myself, not with others. I have endless patience with others. And it's so interesting. And I'm also still, yeah, still on this journey, as all of us are in some way on our journey with something. And there's so many things that we can develop, that we can look at inside of ourselves, and we can shed light on, that we can understand in a deeper way, that we can integrate more. And it's totally fine. So I also don't want to send this message that you need to have everything figured out, or there's this one day where you have everything figured out. Maybe that day comes. I don't know. I haven't met a person who told me, yes, it was 2 days ago, I had everything figured out. And from then on, I never had any problems anymore. Yeah, so developing patience. And if you are having similar kind of experiences, I can share a couple of thoughts with you. What supports me in developing this patience for myself, it's, yeah, actually self-compassion. So that's what I try to do. First of all, step one is I try to see the goodness, the good intention from which place this part is speaking. So this part, I believe, just wants my best. It wants that I can create in a way that how I can create, how I want to create, and that I can just bring into the world what I want to bring in the world. And I see this good intention. So that's, for me, the most important first step. And then as a second step, I try, and I on purpose say try because it doesn't always work. I try to then practice self-compassion in these moments, speaking, or actually compassion to this part, and self-compassion because it's one of my parts. And then I try to see this part and say, hey, and maybe you can give this part a name. Hey, I see you. I see you. And I know that you want my best. And I know that you're trying in the best way that you know how to communicate. And I also want to follow this intention. I also want to create. And at the same time, I feel that when you are talking to me in this way, that is actually more harmful than it supports me on this path. So that's an internal dialogue that I have. This is one part that you can do, one way of approaching it. And every person resonates with different approaches more. So that's like the practicing compassion with this part, kind of speaking to it, internal dialogue. And then another approach could be noticing, again, this part is here, it has a good intention, and then just working somatically. So no words involved, just working with your body and your nervous system, basically. So I find myself in these situations in an agitated state. That means that I have also a lot of energy. It feels like I want to destroy things. I want to hit something. I don't do that, but I feel there's the impulse there. And I could follow it. I never do. But I observe that it comes. And then you can either try to down regulate. That could be like through breathing. You can close your eyes, take a breath. Through breathing, it could be like something self-soothing where you can hug yourself, embrace yourself. It can be just like slowly breathing in through the nose and even slow out through the mouth again. Like you can do what's called the butterfly hug, where you just hold yourself like this and tap yourself with the fingers, like I'm holding my hands in front of my chest, and then tapping with my fingers my chest slowly. And these are all practices to down-regulate your nervous system, calm your nervous system. And sometimes if the energy is so high that down-regulation is not the way to go, then it's moving with the energy. And sometimes what I do is just like to run around, and that signals to my nervous system I'm running away from a threat, and then I can feel safe afterwards. Or I could also say, I want to fight this threat. And then I can take a cushion, for example, and then I would actually hit the cushion and say like, wow, fighting off the threat. That can also help. Or you can do push-ups. Or you can like tense all the muscles in your body and then release them again. It's called progressive muscle relaxation, PMR. So there are various things that you can do in order to come back into balance, into center, and not to be spinning in this spiral of feeling impatient. So that's basically the idea. As we're talking in this episode about the age of instant gratification, how to cultivate patience. That's one way to do so when feeling impatient, that you can like observe which part is creating this impatience, what its intention is, and how you can then bring yourself back to balance and to center. What you could also do is try to create for you like a vision or the purpose of why does it actually make sense for you to develop patience. In my case, for others, I just developed a lot of patience because I just deeply, deeply love seeing other people unfold, unlocking their potential, getting in touch with their self, with their essence. And just that comes a lot with holding space in a very, very patient way. And that benefits or contributes in a very beneficial way also to all my relationships in my life, like to my partnership, to my friendships and family. So it's definitely something to cultivate, I believe. And when it comes to presence, the second part and aspect of this episode that I wanted to talk about is that we are constantly thrown at, or like constantly, social media especially, is sending us like signals, stimulating waves, images, videos, text, and we're constantly surrounded by, hey, I want to have your attention. Hey, I want to have your attention. Hey. And that's just the way it is currently. So presence and attention is probably one of the most important resources that we have. And a resource that many other people on social media want to have from you. They want to have like your most precious resource, attention and presence. And I find myself in this very paradox situation that right now I'm probably having your attention and presence. And I hope that you actively chose to give me your attention and presence. And what I actually want to contribute to is that people can live with more presence, balance, patience, connection with themselves and with others in the world, which would have as a consequence that they spend way less time on the internet and social media, and probably also way less time listening to podcasts, which is a very paradox situation to be in. And I hope that makes sense to you. This situation of mine. So presence. Presence is something that I believe every one of us can practice. And again, inviting self-compassion. If over the last couple of years, you have just spent a lot of time on social media, or where your attention was shifting from one focus point to the other within a couple of seconds, don't blame yourself. It's just that was the way it is. All good. From now on, we can move in a different direction. So it's making baby steps. And baby steps with presence could mean, for example, while eating, when you have your lunch, your breakfast, just take 1 second. I do that actually every time before eating. I close my eyes. I take a breath. And maybe it's 3 seconds. Maybe it's a minute. Something like that. And then that marks for me transition from whatever it was that I was doing before to, now I'm eating. And then you can eat with presence and be like present with your food. That you can do just to practice. Or when walking outside, I observe my thoughts all the time going to many different other directions. And then I try to remind myself, wait a minute, I'm outside. I can just enjoy being outside. And I can try to enjoy and experience and feel the wind on my face, the sun in my eyes, sounds around me. Practicing mindfulness, basically. Practicing mindfulness will also support you cultivating presence. So I hope this was inspiring for you. I hope this episode of Stream of Consciousness on the topic of the age of instant gratification, cultivating patience and presence was inspiring for you, that you take something from it. And I hope also that you enjoy this format where I share myself in the most authentic way with whatever is just coming through me right now naturally. And I hope that inspires you also to be yourself and to live your essence.